Well, welcome in to the My Dogs Are Barking podcast on MPW Digital. And Austin, my man, welcome in. Say hello.
Man, it's good to be here. So glad to be here. After hard fought game, number one team in the country, we go into Austin, and it was a very tough game. But yeah, I'm excited to be reacting to it. It's going to be. This is live reaction when the game literally just ended and we're setting up. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, a little bit of a different setup, but that is not super important. As we react to Mississippi State's 35-13 loss to number one Texas on the road in Austin. And there's a lot of things to say about this game. I think, look, here's the easiest part. Mississippi State was an underdog by 38.5 points at one point this week. 38.5. And for most people, if I'm honest, I think myself included, probably maybe you, Austin, we thought that was that Texas could cover that and could cover that with ease just because of how great their offense has been and how Mississippi State's defense has looked. And Mississippi State, this game at halftime is it 21? No. They scored the last. It was 13. I think it was 14-6. Well, yeah, 14-6. The late touchdown we'll talk about in a second with the blown coverage by Kobe Albert. But this is a game in the first half, and then all of a sudden it kind of fell apart. But from the kick, Mississippi State showed they were ready to hold the ball, keep time of possession, and try the best, which is what you have to do to beat a number one team, especially a team that you're not as talented as. What did you make of the start of this game?
Yeah, I think it mainly just came down to game plan. I think Jeff Lebby came in with a great game plan. Coleman Hutzler played a great first half, calling plays. And we came out. There's been some games where we've just come out just stagnant. First drive of the game looks terrible, or a 3-and-out, and we just looked terrible from the jump. It was like 35-3 against Toledo before we started to get any kind of offense going. And I was really surprised at how we were just getting started. And I think that comes down to coaching. I think coaching, offensively and defensively, I think we had our guys ready and we just came out, it was a big day for us, and we really just played hard. And, that's what Jeff Lebby talks about literally every single week is just playing hard. And, that's what, at the end of the day, that's what we did. Obviously the scoreboard isn't exactly what we said. And like you said, we didn't see this going this way at all. I said 55-13. And I got the 13 right from Mississippi State, but I definitely didn't get the 55 right from Texas. And so I was very surprised, but what can you do?
Yeah, it seems, I'll say this for Mississippi State fans everywhere. We said this last week, especially in the second half. But I think this game just shows that Mississippi State's scheme with Jeff Lebby, what he's trying to do, with being creative, the play calling, I really do think this is going to work. But you could tell from the drop balls and from the offensive line not executing, just straight up holding people or tackling people or just letting them blow right past them. Mississippi State does not have the personnel yet. And Mississippi State fans, I think, are starting to get that a little more clear, that it's not that the scheme is bad. Jeff Lebby had some play calls in scenarios in this game that I thought really worked well. There's some calls you disagree with, going – with that Chris Parson run, taking Michael Van Buren out of the game was a choice. But overall, the scheme looks like it's going to work. Coleman Hutzler had some bad calls in this game. Had some things that – yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think, I completely agree with you. I think personnel is there. People who are saying fire Jeff Lebby, I'm not even going to listen to you anymore. Mario Craver had a drop massive play that we could have had a huge play. Kevin Coleman had a potential touchdown in the end zone pretty on early in the game. So
Jordan Mosley dropped another pass that was wide open.
Yeah, Jordan Mosley had a huge play.
He's scheming it up though to where those guys have opportunities. And at the end of the day, if you have your man beat or you scheme it so that your guy has an opportunity to make a play and it hits him in the hands, there's nothing else you can do as a coach. Now, as far as Jeff Lebby goes, now the wide receivers and Chad Bumpus, you got to talk to him. Mississippi State had a chance there with Kevin Coleman, as you mentioned there. Instead of 3, you're talking touchdown. You're talking a lot of momentum that was just lost. So he's putting the people in the right positions in this game. Offensively, Austin, do you have the stats along with you? Can you go over some of the highlights on the offensive side of the ball? The running game we'll talk about in a second, but the running game looked good in this game.
Yeah, we had 150 yards running the ball, and that's with Michael Van Buren had 14 and negative 14 yards just because he got sacked 6 times. But yeah, Michael Van Buren 144 yards, was pretty efficient, 12 for 23. And what can you really more ask? I mean, and like we just talked about, I mean, we had 3 drops that we could have had, and I mean, what more could you ask for MVB? And just this offense in general has got to step it up. But I mean, Kevin Coleman had a really good game. He had 6 catches. Everybody else had 1, and then Justin Ball had 2 really small catches. And so we gotta step it up. But Levy's putting us in a good position, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, the offensive line play on the offensive side of the ball, to me, even with the drops that the receivers had, offensive line gets the lowest grade in this game. Van Buren did not have a lot of time to get things going, and the running game. There were moments where they had some push, but honestly, Johnny Daniels just showed he could find a sliver of a hole and get through. And so overall, I'll go to the Texas side of things on defense. Man, it's a rough one looking at these stats. Um, Arch Manning, the 4th Manning to play against a Mississippi State team, was 26 of 31 for 324, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Quintravion Wisner had 88 rushing yards, averaged 7 yards a carry. Jaden Blue had 36 yards, but averaged 6 yards a carry. Arch Manning himself had a touchdown, averaged 5.5 a carry. It seemed like they kind of did what they wanted to towards the end. And in the first half, the score probably is a little bit bigger had Mississippi State not had that just free touchdown, or Texas not had that free touchdown dropped. I think, was it Corey Ellington that just got completely beat on that play?
Corey Ellington, yeah. And then Jonte Cook was the one who dropped it.
Yeah, probably should have been caught and continued to go on. But man, and I know, like, if you look at the score, you go, well, I mean, look, you gave up 35, that's a lot of points, but you still only scored 13, and that's understandable. Like we get that, but the Bulldogs showed some fight in this game that's positive for the future. The defensive side of the ball, man, is just, especially in the second half, started to really collapse, and that's something that you have to be discouraged by in this game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's just, yeah, it was rough defensively. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not very mad at Coleman Hutzler, but there was this couple plays where it was just like, bro, come on, man. I mean, we just kept getting like beat deep, and it's like, like the other way around. This doesn't happen to a lot of other teams where they're just constantly every single week getting beat deep the way we are. So yeah, we gotta step it up.
And I won't pick on specific players to the degree that I think we probably could, but there are some players on that defense that they cannot compete at this level, and it shows on a weekly basis of guys blowing past them, not giving effort, thinking that a shoulder tap and let them continue to go on will get the job done, and it won't. And we know we talked about this before that come transfer portal season, man, and also, even forget about the portal. It seems that there's some help on the way. Coleman Hutzler's recruited the linebacker position fairly well, and so you would think that those guys will have an immediate impact. And then there's the portal as an additional part of it, because they, call them Morgan Wallen, because they need some help. I mean, they got to figure something else out, because it's bad out there on defense. It's really rough. But overall, Austin, if you were to go into this game and say, hey, look, going into halftime that this game's 14-6 Texas, would anybody believe us?
Oh no, I mean, no, they would have called us crazy, and I mean, I would have called everybody crazy if somebody said that. I was very happy with us. I was starting to overreact in my head, thinking about scenarios, and just, man, it was really good that first half.
It was. But overall, Mississippi State loses this game 35-13. And we are going into a new segment, Right, Wrong, and Missing, presented by no one at the moment. But we're going to go over what went right for Mississippi State, what went wrong, and simply just what was missing. What did Mississippi State miss out on? But first, hey, let's start with the positives. For Mississippi State, Austin, what are some things? Give me one thing that went right.
On defense, I would just say, I mean, they showed that they can compete sometimes. I mean, they showed a lot of fight that we really needed, that we really, really, really needed. And I was proud of our defense that first half to only hold them to 14 points. I mean, they might have had like negative rushing yards that first half. I don't know, but I mean, we played well that first half, and with the guys that we have, like you said, we got a bunch of people that, I mean, just to quite frankly, have no business in playing SEC football. And we have them, and they had them at the number one team in the country's big old stadium in Texas, and they showed a lot of fight. So I mean, I feel right about that.
I agree, man. I agree. There's some folks on the defense that are going to be selling insurance for a career very soon, and can be obviously very successful in that. But it is just rough. But you're right, and also the two turnovers that Mississippi State got was something. I mean, you're seeing something. I looked over at one point in this game and thought, man, has the defense ever gotten an interception this season? And then I remembered, I guess, it's the first game versus EKU. But other than that, there hadn't just not been a lot doing. So that was positive for the Bulldogs. I'll tell you something else that went right to me, and that is it seems that the running game has been somewhat established. Johnny Daniels seems to be the guy for Mississippi State running the ball in this game. He had 75 yards in the game, and Davon Booth had 59 yards. But it cannot be overstated. They had that many yards. And if you go back and you watch the game, there's little to no push at all. When you look at Texas running the ball, there is a push by those offensive linemen getting him 5 and 6 yards and then pushing the pile forward. This looked like Johnny Daniels just finding little slivers and getting through. That's a positive thing going forward because Daniels will be back next season, barring anything that we're unexpecting. And that's positive. Mississippi State found something in the running game. I'm not a coach. These coaches know so much more than me. But there seems to be moments that seem pretty obvious that Davon Booth is exhausted and they need to get him out there because they keep him in the game and he just has no he doesn't show a lot of burst. And so it seems like Daniels seems to be the guy. They need a third guy, a third running back in that. I know there's been people missing the season with Seth Davis, Jeffrey Pittman dismissed from the team, or at least separated from the team for a little bit. Kevon Lee gets injured and is out for some time. So I understand that there's not a lot there, but the Bulldogs need to find somebody else when these two guys are getting exhausted. But what went right for Mississippi State? They found a running game to at least help out Michael Van Buren, but they need an offensive line to come along alongside him. Austin, we move over to what went wrong. What went wrong for the Bulldogs?
Man, I mean, I think everybody has the same one. I would say the offensive line. I mean, we talked about personnel. I mean, we got some guys on this offensive line. I mean, I like we said, we don't want to call out any names. I don't like doing that on social media. But we just got some guys that just don't belong in the SEC. And it's just, I mean, watching them is just, you can't, I mean, 6 sacks, but I mean, they played bad all season. And I feel like Mississippi State has not had I don't remember the last good offensive line Mississippi State has. And I mean, all new guys this year, other than Albert Reese. Albert Reese started 2 games last year. He hadn't really played great either. I mean, we tried to start, Cannon Boone got some work this game. Luke Work got some work this game. So we tried a couple more guys, but still, I mean, nothing going. And we showed a little bit more fight run blocking. Pass blocking, dude, we can't do anything. And I know this is against the number 1 team in the country, but dude, we played bad against Toledo. We played bad against Arizona State. I mean, this has been going on all season long, and it's going to continue to go on all season long. So for the wrong for this year and definitely this game is our offensive line. Because, I mean, when you got a true freshman quarterback playing in this environment, you need the offensive line to step up, and they didn't do that at all.
And you just said it. You took the words out of my mouth. True freshman quarterback. That goes into what went wrong for me, and that is Michael Van Buren and the clock management. Getting behind on the chains because of holding penalties, that happened a couple times in this game and some other infractions. But Michael Van Buren, 3 delay of games, and I might, maybe there's 4 actually. He just, I don't know. He's a true freshman against the number 1 team in the nation. I understand, but that's just something that went wrong for them. That backed them up time after time when they're and it's killed momentum when you want to snap the ball and get it out quick. Well, now you're backing up 5 yards. Well, now you're backing up 5 more yards. Well, now Davon Booth runs for 2 yards. And it very quickly things become very negative. What went wrong for Mississippi State is that offensive line and then not play calling, execution on the time for Michael Van Buren. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I mean, true freshman quarterback, but dude, I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if Levy was changing plays just real late, but I mean, dude, I mean, he just didn't seem like he had a lot of hustle going into the play, and I mean, it stresses me out because I feel like it happens to us all the time. But I mean, this is probably the worst I've ever seen. Just trying to get a playoff, and we couldn't do it. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Austin, we got what went right for Mississippi State. We talked about what went wrong. What was missing for the Bulldogs in this game?
Yeah, I think, man, it's tough. It's tough. I think that the defense in general, I feel in that second half was missing. But yeah, I would say the secondary, uh, in particular for that second half, they just, I mean, I don't know what to say. And again, we just the personnel, man. We can talk about this all year, every single episode, but we just don't have guys that can play at a high level, and we don't. I mean, and Texas has three wide receivers that are going to be in the NFL next year. And I mean, we just had no answer for them. And in that fourth quarter, we had no answer for the run game. We looked like we were just absolutely trashed. We were playing true freshmen. We were playing some redshirt freshmen in that fourth quarter. We were just trying to get anybody to play in that fourth quarter. And yeah, just nothing going on in that second half of the secondary. And they looked really bad on some plays.
Yeah, I think it was the end of the first half. So yeah, Mississippi State's down 1 point. Yeah, 7-6. It's 3rd and 9. There's 30 seconds left, and they're at the 50 or so for 48. Yeah, 48. And there's no help over the top, and Kobe Albert gets burned, and it's a 48-yard touchdown going into the half. And instead of a one-score game, instead of a 1 point game, it extends a little bit. That's on Kobe Albert, but also we talk about the scheme, man. That the scheme on defense. Why is there no help? You just said it. There's 3 receivers who are going to be playing in the NFL, and Arch Manning, that is a Manning, and you let him be one on one. I don't know. I don't get it that late in the game. I'm not sure why that's the call, but obviously, as we mentioned, these guys know a lot more than we do. I think what was missing for me, this is gonna sound like a broken record, but it's the push by the defensive line. Man, I whenever you watch Mississippi State, the defensive line in the past, the defensive line is just one thing you can hang your hat on. They are going to be aggressive. They're going to get a push, but there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing. There's nobody, no hero coming off the end. Manning had a long time to throw today, and there's just no push. Now, sometimes when you bring some linebackers, you bring some sort of pressure, and even then, it just doesn't get to him. And the offensive line for Texas is great. They have a first round pick in Kelvin Banks Jr. on the left tackle, and probably some other guys as well. Majors, I believe the center as well as another guy. But there's no push on the defensive line. That's what was missing. If Mississippi State could have generated some sort of push, you just never know. Mistakes can happen. Manning could get flustered and throw it. Make mistakes, or just say, "Hey, I'm going to just go ahead and toss this one out of bounds because I don't have a lot of time." But I think Sark knows they had plenty of time to throw the ball, and when there's no push, your defense is just at a disadvantage every time. So that is what went right, what went wrong, and what was missing in this matchup with number 1 Texas. 35-13. I don't know how many more things you can say about this loss. But if you were in the comments, let us know what's something that went right. If you can find some positives, I believe in you guys. You can do it. What tell me something that went right in this game that maybe that you were not expecting. You could just even say the score, and it would count. What went wrong for Mississippi State? What's something that was missing? What's something that they just clearly missed out on and did not get done that they should have? Austin, any final things to wrap your, kind of wrap a bow around this thing before we move on?
Yeah, man. For state fans, just keep going. We knew that we were going to lose this game, but I just I don't know about all the other fans, but I definitely have a lot more hope going into the next game. It sucks that we have a bye week. No Mississippi State football next Saturday, but yeah, I look forward to the Georgia game. I mean, obviously, I don't think we're going to win the Georgia game, but I feel a lot of hope. You got to be cheering on these freshmen. I mean, it's MVP time. We got to get back him. I mean, he really played a good game in my opinion, and I look forward to what he's going to do for the rest of the season. I really look forward to seeing what he's going to do. Mario Craver, we got some guys, good young guys that are going to be playing a lot of football these next 3 or 4 years, and so yeah, be behind the Dogs. Don't give up on the Dogs, and Hail State for sure.
Well, it seems like, it's kind of like with all these answers, it's with all things considered. And in this game,
Mhm.
Michael Van Buren, all things considered, true freshman on the road, #1 team in the country, an offensive line that was inept at time. The two ends for Texas, the two defensive ends are both NFL guys. All things considered, I know that the stat line's not going to blow people away. I get that. If some of those passes that hit receivers in the hands are caught, I understand. But 144 yards overall. He did have a rushing touchdown, 12 of 23. So not a great efficiency, type of game, but he's under duress, the whole time. So all things considered, Michael Van Buren, he showed some things in this game that I think should give fans some hope. There is there is hope that's there with Michael Van Buren. Chris Parson played, but I mean he didn't throw a pass. He was just kind of known as a maybe a decoy, just somebody who's going to run the ball. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do there, but that's okay. Moving on, Mississippi State is off next Saturday, the October 5th, before having to take on number 2 at the moment. Well, as we say this, Alabama and Georgia are playing, so we'll see where they go. But top 10 team, Georgia, in Athens. So, man, no rest for the weary. But look, if you're Michael Van Buren, you've already gone to #1 Texas on the road. I don't know. I don't want to say how could it get much harder, because it always can. So, overall, though, Mississippi State fans and listeners just in general, we will not have a preview show this upcoming week because there is no particular game for Mississippi State. They're on a bye, so they're going to try to rest up just a little bit. But stay tuned. Make sure you're following us on Twitter or X it's at MyDawgsPod, at my DAWGS pod, and that's kind of where you're going to learn about all of the things that we have coming out, all the latest, also just kind of our commentary throughout the week. If you're a TikTok person, also follow us on TikTok. We post clips there, as well as posting clips on our Twitter. So make sure you follow us there. As always, Austin and I appreciate you guys listening. Make sure you are subscribed to the MPW digital network. This is where all of our content is going to be going from now on. So make sure you're subscribed. Stay tuned. MPW digital has a lot of great shows, and we are the show for Mississippi State. So make sure you tune in, and we will see you next time.